I've been young, I've been old, I've been hurt and been sold, hot or cold.
So welcome back, everyone. So guess where we're at today? Believe it or not, it's snowing. It's actually snowing again. So that drives us back into the Homestead Wood Shop, but that's okay because we have multiple projects going on. So today we're going to be covering, or just getting close to wrapping up, the Common Man's Toolkit. We'll be adding 2 new tools today, but more importantly, we're going to get started on the toolbox. All right, here we go. Very quick recap. If you're joining us for the first time, we're putting together the Common Man's Woodworking Toolkit on a super budget. And one of you guys, these are the actual tools that you're going to win, as well as the custom-made toolbox that I'll be starting today. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I am going to go ahead and add the dovetail saw. We're going to have dovetail toolbox, and I just can't do it. The saw is too coarse, so it's going to be an extra $30 or so. But the tools that I'm adding are pretty insignificant today. Just real briefly, a coping saw. This is a coping saw. This is what we can use for doing radiuses, small work. $5. This is a Fat Max, a Stanley brand. I ordered it on Amazon. It came with 3 blades. $5. $5. It's so cheap that they won't ship it. You got to add it on to something else. So if you can add it onto your dog food or whatever you're ordering. And then the last tool is I went ahead and got a number 12 Stanley Power Lock. This little 12-footer in the metal case. These are hard to find. Be careful when you're buying these. Don't buy the ones in the plastic case. They're twice as much for the metal ones, but that is a great little woodworking saw. So we've got our chisels, we've got our plane, we've got our combination square, we've got our wonderful India Norton stone. Man, a lot of you guys have been buying these stones, $20 for a red India bench stone. Man, isn't that nice? With that nice box on it. Everyone's been emailing me, telling me how happy they are with those. So that's great. And of course the Wranglerstar pencil. So this may be a Common Man's Toolkit here, but I assure you, the toolbox is not going to be common. Okay, the toolbox. This is important. I wanted to do something really special, and not something that was going to be, an heirloom quality, something that you really like, right? So I thought about it all this morning, and I thought, if I could have a toolbox, what would I have it made out of? What would be my favorite thing? And of course, my favorite thing is Oregon-grown Pacific Northwest clear vertical grain Douglas fir. Look at that. I just said that, it gave me goosebumps. I love it so much. It's just so beautiful. Look, did you see it? So I want to show you. So here is the wood that we're gonna use to build your toolbox. Right here, we've got excuse me, a 2x12, a 2x8. We got 3 2x6. 1x12, 1x8, three 1x6s, and a 1x4. How much do you think this little pile of wood costs right here? Take a guess. Any guesses? I'll tell you what, I was shocked. $114. I went to the lumber yard. Where we have a really good kind of a specialty mill. They do real high-end stuff. I said, I want clear vertical grain. I want to pick it out. I want the best stuff you have. I'm going to look at every piece. This is what I want to cut. Can you cut it for me? Because I had Mrs. W's car. So we went out there, and the guy cut them all, and he cut them all just under the dimensions that I gave him, like a 1/16 of an inch. I said, this doesn't do me any good. These have to be, I need to have a trim. I need to have, had this, look at this beautiful wood. They had this framing blade on their miter saw that was probably put on there about 50 years ago. Look at all the tear out, how it tore it all up right there. So they're additionally ruining another 1/4 inch in there, and I had it figured so tight that I couldn't have that. So he had to recut all of it, but I had to have it that length. So over $100. I was shocked. Had I known it was going to cost that much, I don't know. Maybe I would have went with hemlock, but we have it now, and it is beautiful, and they'd already cut it, so it was my baby. So let's just jump into it. Let's just get started. Now, if I didn't mention already, if you'd like to win this kit with this box, it's going to take a couple videos to build it. You have to comment on the Common Man's Tool videos. This is what, number 4, 5, something like that. And you'll be eligible. And also, all these tools are going to be put in my web store, wranglermart.com. You can go, there's a special category for the Common Man's Toolkit. So let's just jump into it. I don't know exactly what I'm going to build. I have it in my mind, and we'll just start doing it. Oh, important, one last thing. In building this toolbox, I'm going to use these tools. I'm not going to use my fancy tools. I'm going to use these. So we're going to find out if there's something that has a deficiency or there's something we don't need. We'll have to add to it. But the best I can figure, this should be it. So these are the tools we're going to use to build the box. I got my carpenter's bench all cleared out. I got all my tools off there. We're going to use your tools. I think we're going to have everything that we need. Of course, you can also expect I'll have on the box the official Wranglerstar Maker's Mark. Put that on there. And a brace of Wranglerstar Carpenter's pencils. You can't buy them. You can't buy those. You know, they're just priceless. First things first, we're going to start out with the base. Now, I don't have any plans, but I do have, this is the extent of my plans right here. 26 by 10. 26 by 10 is kind of what I hadn't figured in my mind. So, this is the first time I get to use the Stanley, a $20 plane, SB4. I don't know how I feel using a $20 plane on a $30 piece of wood or whatever this was. Okay, this is going to be our bottom. Let's see. So we need to get a, not too bad. We need to get this flat and we'll get a reference point. So I'm not going to be doing a lot of talking on this, guys, because I need to think about what I'm doing. I'm not working off of any plans. This is just a picture in my mind that is going to become a reality. All those naysayers in the comments that told us that we couldn't do anything with a $20 plane, we're going to prove them all wrong. Look at that. That's $20 plane, guys. You're not likely to find a piece of 12-inch clear vertical grain fir like this. It's very costly. It's very rare. It's hard to come by because to get a piece like that with a tight knot like that where there's no blemishes or defects it's hard, and that's why it's so precious. So, the reason why I planed that one side flat is because I needed a nice flat square edge, a guaranteed flat, because that's going to be the control line. That's where we're going to be basing everything off of. And also it has a quarter round that's made by the machine that does, that finishes these up. And I can't duplicate that, so we'll start because we're going to have clean, sharp edges and clean lines. You probably just noticed that the color changed on the video. I did a custom white balance to my card in here, and it just looked too warm and too yellowy, so I cooled it up a little bit. So our caddy's going to be, I determined earlier, it's going to be 26 inches to accommodate our longest tool, which is going to be our Japanese dovetail saw. Need to make sure to take into consideration the setbacks and thickness of the walls, and that gives us 26, plenty of extra to work with, so that should be just right. So I had to buy a 3-foot piece because they sell by the foot, not by the inch. Okay, we get to use our new layout, or your layout knife, for the first time. Just severing those grains. And we get to use that beautiful Marple's chisel and our maple mallet. Okay. So I'm not gonna tell you guys this is gonna be perfect, but I will promise you I'll do the best that I can. It may take a couple days when you're doing this thing all by hand and without plans. It just takes a lot of time. I'm going to use we'll use the dovetail, the fine saw here. So far, so good, friends. We've got the bottom cut, the 28. Let's see, what is it? 26 by 10. And we've got the sides that are 5 inches tall. And what this is going to be is this is actually going to be set in. There'll be an 1/8 inch reveal all the way around. It looks kind of nice and protects the sides a little bit. These will be hand cut dovetails, Lord willing. I've only done it once on my own toolbox, and that has been some time, so we're going to have to be really careful with that. So those will be dovetails, hand-cut dovetails there. Now we have to make an important decision here with the design of the box, since I have two things in mind. I want you guys to comment on one of two things. Either we make it a simple tote like this. Now, before we go any further, I think I need to explain how that, pretend you have x-ray vision and you're looking in the inside, right? So everything is going to have its place. So, and with a little divider system in there, so it doesn't bang around. So our plane will sit right in here. Of course, we'll have our two saws. They'll have, I'm going to custom make there'll be little grooves, little blocks in there, glued in. So everything will have its place. So when you move your tools around, they won't get banged up, especially your important ones. The chisels and the official Wranglerstar pencil, I'm thinking out loud here, will have dividers that are built inside the box, so they'll all sit here. Each one will have its place. So they'll be lined up here. There'll be a place for the pencil. There'll be a place for your tape measure, your measuring tools, all those things, and the mallet. So you can kind of see how that design is. Now, the question that I have on this is we can go one of two ways. Number one would be we can do a rope handle. I was not going to do a traditional grip. You know, when I think about these tools, you know, gone are the days of a carpenter that is going to grab these kind of tools and go out and work on his house or do a project or fix a door. I mean, very, very few. We're going to use power tools for that. This is more going to be sitting on a bench. So you could take this and you could sit it where you're working, your workspace, wherever that is, and you can have the things you need to do a project. So to me, it's more of a storage of a tote than a traditional, I'm going to carry and walk 3 miles with my tools and go to the job site type of a thing. But I'm not going to completely rule that out. So either we do the dovetails, we build the whole divider system will all be the same, but we do like a nice hemp rope handles. Just really, really classic. They could pick up like that. Now the other option that I'm thinking of, now envision the sides are on here. This might be hard to envision. So right down the center, we've got this 2x10. Let's say we'll make it a couple inches taller. Let's say we make it, this is a 2x8 here, I think. We make it 7 inches, 2 inches taller or so. And picture this. I can draw gently on this. Picture it coming up here with an oval handle, like that, right? And a gently sloping down and matching this edge. So basically what you have here is something, the angle would be something like this here. Okay, you picture that? And so what that gives you is a carry handle. A carry handle that you could pick the box up that will be perfectly balanced. And it does two things. It gives us a divider, and it also gives us a handle. We could do that too, but that really, it really takes up. Here, let me give you a different perspective that'll help you understand. Okay, apologize for the shake. We're going manual, handheld here. So the problem with the divider, what I've ran into with my toolbox, is it's very dark down in there. It's hard to see, and you have a pretty narrow area to get things, and they kind of get caught up on the edge. Look at the difference. Imagine this full of tools, and you're working out of it. Look at the difference when I take this out. Look how light and airy it is. It's like having skylights in your toolbox there, and things. It gives you more options, even though everything can have its space and will be protected from moving around if it does get jostled. But it just gives us a lot more flexibility, I think. So please put in the comments what you think. I could go either way. I can argue the merits all day long for both ways, but we'll leave it up to those who are going to, one of you is going to win all this stuff. So tell me what you think we should do on that. And then next time we'll hand cut the dovetails. This really is going to be a nice little box. So, Manly Manners. I've got the Manly Manners book over there, and I was thinking that the reason why this is as far as I'm going tonight. We'll work on it tomorrow, if it's raining, is because I've got some things that Mrs. W asked me to do, and as I was thinking about doing a Manly Manners, I thought, this would be a good time to address a comment that I received that Mrs. W and I had a lengthy conversation about recently. And it's something we hadn't really thought about. So I said in a video a while back, Mrs. W has I've got to go or I have to do something, has a honey-do list for me. And I don't remember who made the comment, but it was made in a little bit of frustration, and I'm going to paraphrase. It was basically saying, well, so you have a honey-do list. She's got a honey-do list for you. What about you? What about your list for her? And obviously from the tone of the conversation and the comment, and you never really know for sure what spirit those are said, but sometimes I think you can read a lot into it. And it seemed to me that there was a real sense of frustration by this guy that there was more expected of me, or maybe more expected of a man in a relationship than there was for a woman. And he sounded really sour about that. Well, Mrs. W, I didn't read it originally. She brought it to my attention and asked me if I could, to explain this. She thought that was a very sad comment and something that was, it was really upsetting her. And I thought how sad that is as I thought about that the last few minutes, and I've met so many people in marriages that were, they were keeping score, keeping track. I did the dishes this time, you have to do the dishes now. I drove the kids to school this time, now you have to drive the kids to school. I spent so much money on my toys this month. Now you get to, and keeping track. And the marriage is both sides, the man and the wife. And I thought what a horrible way to live. What I can only speak for, I'm getting into deep waters here. But when it comes to women, when it comes to Mrs. Wranglerstar, what I find, and I think this is true with a lot of women. This is advice to young guys if you haven't figured this out yet. Is that if you give one, you get back 5 or 10 or 20. Women are so giving and so responsive to a smallest act of kindness that in a marriage, and I try to be the same way, but it's certainly more in Mrs. W's nature to nurture and to look after and to take care of me. The little honey-do list that I do for her pales in comparison to the day in, day after, the constant way that she looks after me and shows her love to me by the things, little acts of kindness and gestures. As simple as making my toast the way I like it. As simple as having the table set in the evening for supper and running water over my ice so it doesn't take out the sparkle in the seltzer, in the water, sparkling water, to a million different things. I could go on and on and on for hours about this. I thought how sad to think of a relationship in that way, that I will only give to you as much as you gave to me. And what you find out is you start competing with that giving when you really give yourself, when you really think about little things like when you know that your wife is going to go out and run some errands, to go out there 10 minutes early and to start her car and turn the seat heater on. And to have little things, or when you go to the store, you know that your wife likes chocolate. Pick out her favorite chocolate bar and hide it in her purse, and take a Sharpie and just write "I love you." Just little things like that. You just do little things that it's not the candy bar, and it's not the fact that you started up the car and turned the heater on. It's the fact that you were thinking about her. It's the fact that even when you went out to the grocery store, or when maybe you've been busy, that you took a moment and you thought about her, and how that will reciprocate in a relationship is. I'm telling you guys, it makes it. Is you can do that one thing and you get 20, maybe with some women even 50 back. I wouldn't say that that's out of the case, that's not the case, but. That's why I've always felt it to be very, very dangerous in a marriage to really be keeping track of things. And so I have to be careful. Sometimes I overstep my bounds and I don't want to offend anyone, but it's just my experience. It's just my experience for the manly matters. So don't keep score. Just do kindness. The final thing, we're always talking about in the old Bible studies about that relationship between God and Christ. When he was doing his ministry here. And if you read into that, when you look at it, what they're constantly doing when they're talking about each other is they're building one another up. Christ says, why do you call me good? There's only one good, it's God. Everything that Christ says about the Father, he's always complimenting. He's always building him up, and vice versa. This is my son in whom I'm well pleased. That's an example to us, that connection, that relationship of not putting yourself first, but putting your loved one first. It'll pay you back. It'll pay you back 1,000-fold. So, all right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
I've been young